McKellar.
I move that the bill be now read a second time. Speaker, today I introduce the Road Vehicle Standard Amendment Safer E-Bikes Bill 2025 to ensure e-bikes are fit for purpose and safe in terms of international safety standards and speed capability. E-bikes have transformed the way Australians move around our cities and suburbs, and they have been taken up with particular eagerness in my electorate of Mackellar on the northern beaches of Sydney. They are a vital part of the shift to cleaner, more active transport and have provided greater transport independence for many thousands of people, especially those without a licence. But the technology has raced ahead of our safety and import regulations so that now we frequently have e-bikes that are more like motorbikes than bicycles being used on our roads and our footpaths. This situation has caused deep concern across our communities for the safety of both riders and pedestrians. Parents, pedestrians, state politicians, trauma surgeons and even police are all calling for leadership from the federal government to address these pressing safety concerns. The major regulatory failing at the federal level is that when e-bikes are being imported into Australia, they do not have to meet any mandatory safety or quality standards because they are not considered road vehicles under the Road Vehicles Standards Act. It is this issue that my Safer E-Bikes Bill seeks to solve. I recently hosted a community forum on e-bikes with State Independent MP for Pittwater, Jackie Scrooby, where we heard directly from local community members, trauma surgeons, police and transport experts about the alarming rise in injuries and the enforcement challenges linked to illegal and non-compliant e-bikes. Data on injuries caused by e-bikes is scant, but research from St Vincent's Hospital Sydney found that over a 2-year period from 2023, 500 e-bike riders required critical care in New South Wales emergency departments. These injuries are often severe, including head trauma, spinal injuries and fractures. While some of these injuries were influenced by alcohol use or insufficient infrastructure to protect cyclists, many also involve modified or overpowered e-bikes. The failure to adequately regulate these bikes is a serious public safety issue. As a doctor who has worked in emergency departments for many years and on a neurosurgical ward, I clearly understand the risk these overpowered and unregulated bikes pose and feel compelled to act before tragedy strikes again. Evidence presented to the Parliament of New South Wales inquiry into the use of e-scooters, e-bikes and related mobility options suggests that a divergence between federal and state regulations has led to confusion and the proliferation of non-compliant devices in the market, with retailers exploiting the gap between federal import standards and state road regulations. This situation has also created significant challenges for enforcement agencies and confusion amongst consumers about what constitutes a legal device and what can be ridden without being licensed. There is also broad support for reform from state politicians. The New South Wales, Queensland and Victorian transport ministers have all written to the federal government calling for national leadership on unsafe e-bike imports and the establishment of national safety standards. The cycling and e-mobility industry is also calling for change. In a joint letter to the Federal Treasurer and Minister for Infrastructure and Transport, Bicycle Industries Australia, We Ride Australia and other leading organisations urge the government to reinstate e-bikes under the Road Vehicle Standards Act and require compliance with international best practice safety standards such as EN 15194. The European standard outlines safety requirements for the design, assembly and testing of electrically powered assisted cycles, or EPACs for short. The industry has also made it clear they want clarity, consistency and safety. This is what this bill responds to. It defines EPACs as road vehicles under the Road Vehicle Standards Act 2018 and requires the Minister for Infrastructure and Transport to develop a national road vehicle standard for e-Pax, addressing operational pedal cranks, height-adjustable seats, anti-tampering protections and other safety features consistent with the European standard EN 15194. Importantly, e-Pax that meet this new national standard or are designed for people with disability or for off-road use will be exempt from regulation under the Act. The bill also calls for a new vehicle class called powerful e-bikes and defines them as road vehicles under the Road Vehicle Standards Act, providing the relevant department with the authority to oversee the importation of these bikes. It also requires the Minister to create a national road vehicle standard for powerful e-bikes. This addresses the rapid proliferation of overpowered e-bikes, including fat bikes, that operate exclusively via throttle without requiring pedalling and which can reach speeds of 50 kilometres an hour and above. E-bikes are a wonderful innovation that will play an increasingly important role in Australia's clean transport future. Transport is currently the third largest carbon-emitting sector in Australia and is on track to become the highest source of emissions by 2030. According to the Climate Council, more than 2 million car trips in Sydney each day are under 2 kilometres, and in Melbourne, half of all weekday trips are under 5 kilometres. These are distances that could easily be covered by e-bikes. We just have to make them safe for use for both riders and pedestrians. Shifting from car use to active transport and e-mobility on trips like these will help reduce emissions, improve public health and connect people to public transport hubs and make our communities more livable. E-bikes also make cycling accessible to more people, older Australians, people with injuries, those like myself who live in hilly areas and those who might not otherwise ride. They are a gateway to healthier, more active lives, but they must be made safe for the entire community. This bill responds to widespread calls from parents, pedestrians, trauma surgeons and state governments for national safety and import standards for e-bikes. While states and territories are responsible for setting speed limits and riding regulations on our roads and footpaths, the federal government also has a clear role to play in regulating and supporting safe e-bikes by ensuring that e-bikes imported into this country are safe, compliant and fit for purpose, as this bill does. This bill is about protecting riders, pedestrians and drivers and making our communities safe for everyone. And it is about supporting the growth of a sustainable transport mode that can help us meet our climate goals, reduce congestion and improve public health. I commend this bill to the House and cede the remainder of my time to the member for Bradfield. Thank you.